Hello and welcome to a new reading vlog. So today I'm doing my recommendations video. So basically all the books that I've seen booktubers talk about or books that viewers have mentioned in my comment section, I put them in here and I'm going to pull out some and read them in full for this vlog. I'd say if there's one that I don't want to pull out to start with, it would be Dune, because that's a 700-page big boy. And I know that's going to take me a while to get through because it's like an epic sci-fi. So that's the only one I don't want to pull out immediately, but anything else, we'll see what happens. So I'll take off my glasses because I can see they were glaring, but now I can't see. But anyway, so we're going to just shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
That's not doing anything at all. Right, I'm going to go like this instead. I'm just going to arbitrarily grab one. Let's see if you can read it first. And let's see what I pulled out. What did I get? The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen, which I saw on Catherine Karras's channel. Interesting. I will talk about each book right before I read it, but I'm just going to pull them all now so I can see what books I have to read and organize my schedule accordingly. That's probably really annoying. People like the sound of that because I personally don't. So, oh, this is a thick one. I don't know if you can read that. We'll see what is that clear? Okay, I think it's clear now, hopefully, for you guys. Let's see what I got. Of course! If you speak it into existence, it will appear. It is Dune by Frank Herbert. I saw this on Sophie's channel, but I also saw it on Tom Orange's channel in the same week, and that's why I thought, well, that's a sign from the universe to read this cornerstone of sci-fi. Okay, I have to make sure I definitely structure my time well. This is going to take me a while to get through. I know it will. I'm just sorry. Of course. And it shouldn't even be that thick. It's a small one, but I just cut it thick. All right. I'm reading Dune. Guys. Oh my God. I've got another one. If you want me to keep the paper sounds in here, tell me and I will, but I'm just going to pull the last two without doing that. I have a feeling that's upside down. And I know it's some of it's in focus, some's blurring. I'm sorry. I've got to fix my camera. All the Parts of the Soul by Catherine Fern's Wicked Reading. And this is from the channel Wicked Reading. So as always, I'll link all the channels below that I have mentioned on here, and I'll talk about the books as I read them. Okay, so far we've just gotten, let me see what I've got another one in my hand here, but what is this? So we've got, Dune, Sci-Fi by two booktubers. All the Parts of the Soul, I feel like that might be a horror fantasy by another booktuber. And The Games Gods Play, which sounds like a fantasy by another booktuber. So hopefully I get one of the viewer recommendations. I might keep going until I get a viewer recommendation, to be honest. Oh, speaking of, I think this is Daytripper by Fabio Moon, and it was recommended by Jason and the Argonauts. So I did get a viewer recommendation. That's good. So I've got 4. How many do I want to do? Got to remember Dune's in there. Definitely do at least one more. Okay, so we've got Grey Dog by Elliot Gish from Books and Lala. That's interesting. Is this a horror or a dystopian or a litfic? I can't remember. I saw that ages ago. I didn't even see Kayla talk about it. I just notice it every single time she's standing in front of a particular set of books. I'll put a picture in if I can remember to screenshot one. And I'm like, what is that? And I Googled it. Or I Goodreads it. And I was like, that sounds interesting. And I put it in there. I'll do one more. I'm going to punish myself. I'm going to put pressure on myself to get a lot of reading in these school holidays. What did we get? It's probably upside down. I can tell because there's more black writing on the top. What did I get? Books of Magic by Neil Gaiman by Monty Adkins. Hey, Monty. Monty's got so many recommendations in here. Like, I think half of this is Monty recommending me books. So naturally, I think by probability, I would have pulled one of yours out. I think you did this one recently too. That's great. I think this is a graphic novel, which is great because I do need a smaller book. And I believe if it's Neil Gaiman, it's probably fantasy. So mostly fantasy, sci-fi, and horror. I think. I don't know what Daytripper is about. Someone just mentioned it in the comments. I'm like, just add it. But these are all my choices, so that's good because actually it was getting full. So I think I do need to do a big one on the first go just to make sure I've got space. I've got real estate in here for more recommendations to join it. But these will be my 6 books. What am I going to start with? Oh, I might go to the library later in the week. So I've got to pick something maybe that I can borrow from Libby to have immediately on hand rather than the physical books, because those I'll have to go in for. I might check out too if there's any of these on audio, because that would also make it easier for me to get through all of these books if I can put one on while I'm cleaning and doing other crapola. My voice has gone on the fritz, I apologize guys, but I will check in with you later once I have gone on my computer and found out what I can get access to immediately and start with. But I'm excited. These all sound really good. Some of them I have to refresh my memory, like Grey Dog and Daytripper. I'm going to have to go and see what those are about. But yeah, let's get started on my reading, viewer, and booktuber recommendations video. I'm really awkward. I need to work on my presentation skills. Hey guys, so I thought I'd just quickly come in here with these cute little kitties in the background to say that I am going to be redoing my color scheme, because this wall, this one right here, that I looked very peach in the tin has come up so yellow. It's so yellow, and it's especially noticeable when you've got the peach, apricot, purple colors with it. So I'm not liking the orange and purple anymore. So what I'm doing to hopefully avoid having to repaint this, which just got painted, thanks Dad, I am getting some new bed sheets. I'm basically going for neutrals. I'm redoing Monica here, my gorgeous goddess, and I'm going to see if that makes this paint color a bit more acceptable to me, and that way I don't have to repaint it. So I'll keep you updated once the new sheets have come. Sylvie, and we'll see what the looks like. I'm going to have to then find another place for this crocheted blanket that I made so long ago. Okay, I'm standing in this corner like Tom Thumb because I know that my glasses are not reflecting majorly right here. So I just went onto my library website and I found out what I can get for this vlog. Unfortunately, all the parts of the soul, which I saw on Wicked reading, my library don't even got any kind of copy of that. So I might put that one back in the TBR jar, and hopefully in the future they get it in. We'll have to wait and see. I might have to request it. So that's gone back in the jar, but they did have everything else. So the physical books that they had, I have reserved them and I can pick them up tomorrow. Ebooks I got were Grey Dog, so I can start reading that today. And Dune, all of the ebooks and physical books were on loan, but they did have the audio. And I can see why, because it's 21 hours long. So I can't be mad though, because it means I can start it. And I did want an audiobook, and it seems I'm going with Dune as the audiobook, because 2 of these are graphic novels, so I cannot do audiobook for those. Oh, and I can also get an e-reader copy for the games God's Play. I think it was something like that. So there are 2 options that I can start reading today, either Grey Dog or the games God's Play. So one of those 2, the ebooks, the graphic novels I'm picking up tomorrow, and Dune I can also start today on audio. The good thing about the audiobook is that it's a full cast, I think. So I love that, because there's nothing that makes me cringe more than when a man is doing a woman's voice or a woman is doing a man's voice, because it just feels like they're taking the piss. Hey baby, I think we should go out tonight. Oh darling, that would be fantastic. I always laugh my ass off whenever that happens in an audiobook, because it sounds like they're mocking the opposite sex. So I'm really glad it's a multicast. I'm going to start listening to that today, and I might read a chapter of Grey Dog and a chapter of the games God's Play and decide which one I'm going to start today, and then pick up the graphic novels tomorrow. And I think 5 is a much more manageable number than 6. So I'm kind of glad they didn't have all 6. Okay, so I have started with the games God's Play. It is a romantasy. It is not a Hades and Persephone retelling like I thought it was, because the blurb was talking about Hades and how she wished she never met him. But her name's Lyra, or Lyra. And I'm like, are you really Lyra, or are you actually Persephone? Because I might be low-key pissed if it's like a non-Hades and Persephone. The book starts with the sentence, the gods very, very, very reminiscent of the TV show Chaos. So I'm getting Chaos vibes. The main character is extremely sarcastic and potty-mouthed, and I'm not liking it. It's reminding me of a lot of TikTok romanticies that I've read before that weren't to my tastes. It is an over 600 page book. I don't know why a romantasy needs to be over 600 pages. I think that's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm already struggling because I'm just not liking the writing style and the snarky character who's just like to everybody. So we'll see how we go. I might be struggling through this behemoth of a book, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so I've read about 75 pages and I think this is my face the whole time I'm reading. Oh, this book. Okay, so this is a Persephone. Hades retelling. This is a Persephone reincarnated situation. So I know that this main character, Lyra / Persephone, is meant to be a feisty, take no shit kind of woman, but she's coming across as a 2-year-old throwing a tantrum with 0 survival skills. Her meeting with Hades was so cringe. The banter between them, completely overwritten and so zesty. There is absolutely no subtlety in this book, and I am getting secondhand embarrassment reading with an FMC that is so sarcastic and potty-mouthed and just likes to bulldoze her way through every obstacle and person in this book. It's so extra. It is so extra. And it feels juvenile. I know these are meant to be adults. Our main character is meant to be 23 years old, but it feels, I'm sorry, the cats are fighting in a really cute way. It feels so teenage drama. And why the fuck is this book over 600 pages? I am like, smite me, Hades, in your sexy leather harness so I don't have to read any more of this book. But I did say I'm going to read all of these books in full. And I'm laughing at myself because the 3 non-graphic novels that I've chosen all 500, 600 plus page books. Like, what are the chances that each one of them is just a mega tome? But they are. But yeah, look, I'm not enjoying it. You've got a whole Hunger Games situation going where the gods each choose a chosen one, and it's a human, and whoever wins, that god gets to preside as the king of the gods for a year, I think. So of course Hades has chosen her as his player. And he's already, from the second he meets her, he's calling her my star. And I'm like, Look, I like that in general. I have no qualms with the pet name star, but it's the cheesiness of the romantasy kind of thing where the men immediately make a little nickname for the girls, and the girls don't like it. They're like, stop calling me that, And then they'll come to love it, and I'm like, it just feels so cliche. It just feels so cliche. But look, I know a lot of people eat this up. This is just me. I'm just not into this. Like, my kind of romance is a salt grows heavy. Look, sometimes I do like typical fantasy romances. Like, I did like the Revenant games. I did like, I think, Throne of something by Keris Maniscalco. Like, there are very popular romanticities that I do find fun and entertaining. This is just, it's too over the top for me. And once again, it's touching my beloved pairing, Hades and Persephone, and just not doing them justice. But I'm not going to check in until I finish the book. So I'll see you when I finished it. And then I'm on to Grey Dog after that. And then got to go to the library. I'm not going tomorrow because it's going to be pissing down rain. So I don't think I want to go out unless the weather changes. So I might be picking up the graphic novels on a different day. I did start Dune. I think I will wait to give you my thoughts on that one, but I am liking the fuller cast. That's very cool. And I think actually audiobook was the way to go with this one. But I will say that I feel like having watched the movie, so I've seen Dune 1, was very beneficial for my understanding of this book. It definitely informed the book better for me, having had that knowledge. I think if I hadn't seen the movie, I would be very, what the fuck is going on? There's too much happening. There's too much politicking. There's so many names, who's who. And I do have to mention one thing. Is it just me? Or are the names Paul and Jessica a little too plain for the world of Dune. I feel like an Anakin, a Daenerys would have felt more right. Every time they talk about the Chosen One Paul and his mother Jessica, I'm like, okay, it just feels, I know, it just takes me out every time. That's a kid in my class, it's not these very grandiose characters. But yes, I think watching the movie definitely helped me a lot with this one. And even knowing what happens though with the movie, there's just so much foreboding in here, and you are just rooting for the House of Atreides so bad. And I kept hoping to myself, maybe the movie took liberties, maybe the book doesn't go down the same way as the film, because it's like, I don't want anything to happen to this family. But yeah, so I held out hope, but like I said, the foreboding is so heavy, and you're feeling all of the tension, and you're feeling all of the danger just lurking like a hovering knife above this family. So it is giving, I would say, Game of Thrones, but make it spacier with less incest. I realized I even forgot to say what Dune's about. Just in case you don't know, I feel like everyone knows what Dune's about, but it is an epic sci-fi book that has a space royalty family who have taken over a drought-stricken planet where water is in limited supply, and there's this essence called spice, which is highly coveted, and it comes from these massive sandworms. So it's a kind of Tatooine type planet. And basically this family gets brutally wrecked. There's a lot of political melodrama in this, a lot of machinations, a lot of maneuvering, a lot of backstabbing. It feels like a space opera to me, with all of the drama. It is a bit long-winded. I'm going to point that out. It's very heavy on the world building. So this is not an easy sci-fi to read. It's definitely not one I would give to a beginner. And basically with this family, there's a son, the one that's played by Timothée Chalamet, Paul. And Paul's basically the chosen one, the Messiah. There is magic in this. His mother's a witch. Gotta love them witch bitches. She's amazing. But yes, betrayal has taken place. The mother and the son are on the run, and they're learning about the different people on this planet. And like I said, who's allied with who and who's backstabbing who and all that jazz. But that's a bit of the gist. Hey guys, I'm back to tell you about the books that I've been reading. Before I start though, as you probably noticed, my vlogs have not been as they usually are. Generally, I like to dress myself up, take you with me while I go adventuring around Melbourne. But what you've been getting is Cave Troll Chanel, who lives in sweatpants and stretchy pants. So I'm sorry that you're pretty much just getting the ghoul.
Ghouls.
But eventually I will go back to the regular types of reading vlogs that I make, rather than just these at home, very cash, just talking about books ones. But this is the current season we are in. I hope it's okay. So I did finish Games God's Play by Abigail Owen. I want to start by saying the synopsis that is comparing this to The Hunger Games, I don't think that's correct. It's more of a Goblet of Fire, but with way more trials that are less cool and have gods as sponsors for the players. I also want to clear up that this is not a Persephone Hades retelling. Even though they don't name Persephone in the blurb, the way it makes it sound, you would assume, oh, this is Hades and Persephone. No. Persephone is in this, but Hades considers her to be his child. She's so infantilized. The queen of the underworld is infantilized in this, and Hades has decided that Lyra, this 23-year-old dickhead, because she's a dickhead, is his soulmate, not Persephone. There is a ton of cursing in this. I know, I have a potty mouth. It's filthy. But even for me, the cursing was just too much. And the writing is really bad. I'm sorry. That's how I feel about it. It reads like an AO3 installment. The chapters are only a few pages each, and they all end on a dun dun dun. I turned around and it was a dragon. I ran to the door, opened it, and in front of me was a kraken. He turned around and said, "Run!" Every single chapter, And the end of the book, the last sentence, it's not a spoiler, the last sentence is, "We are fucked." That is the whole book. It just felt really dumb to me, very pedestrian. Like I said, fantastic fan fiction, but a published novel, I don't understand it, I don't get it. There are readers for every book. Clearly, I'm not the reader for this particular book. I will say that the author did not follow the cliche in one area, and that is in terms of man scent. So if you're unaware, in romantasy, men have particular aromas. The general ones are mint, scotch, some kind of wood,
smells of rich mahogany,
smoke, leather, and spice. But the author in this one was like, dark bittersweet chocolate. So basically, Hades be smelling like Augustus Gloop. I just couldn't take anything about this seriously. I was honestly, remember, this is a 600-page book. But no, I did have to read all of it because that's what I do for this particular vlog. And yeah, a particular quote that I just pulled from this is, I guess it's true what they say about good genes and exercise. That's Lyra's thoughts about the gods. I'm like, bitch, they're gods. They're not humans. They don't have fitness routines and diets. Yes. This book is a 1.5 star. I'm giving it an extra half star, even though I hated it. I really hated this because I understand that this is very easy to read. So it's accessible to a lot of kinds of readers. It's not something that requires a lot of concentration. It's not challenging. There's little to no world building in terms of a fantasy. So, I get it. Like it's an easily accessible book for a lot of people. For me, it's trash. But I would also say, I also like to comment on the amount of spice. So this is a 3. There is a sex scene, one sex scene in this. This is, said it was slow burn. It's not slow burn, okay? Guy's coming straight out the gate with his pet name, which he uses excessively. Can we please make it illegal to use pet names tediously in books? We don't need to hear the pet name 20 times per page. But he's already calling her his star. He's already heavy on the "you're mine," like over and over and over and over again. So if you love that kind of thing, then Hades in this is your man. But they were making out very quickly. It was just, there was no slow build up here. Okay, the sex scene, it was fine. Like I said, it's a 3. There is sex, very briefly mentioned, and not fade to black. So, there is a talk of things going in things, but it was okay. It was mid. But yeah, I did not like it. Sam, I am. But do I think it will be popular and do the rounds? Probably. So that was Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. Not my jam. And I can't even say it's a disappointing Hades Persephone retelling because Persephone ain't in it. It's a Hades Lyra story. Who wants that? I don't know. A lot of people. It's got good ratings. Yeah, my God. And I'm sorry. It just, sometimes I don't understand the publishing industry completely. I get that at the end of the day, they function to sell books. So they will publish what they think will sell. But then there are people who are talented. I know so many skilled writers who want to be published authors and turn it into a career who cannot get published. And I've read their stuff and their stuff is good. And I don't understand how they're overlooked and how publishers think their work won't sell or be enjoyed. But this will be. I don't know. It's like the whole Fourth Wing thing. I didn't get that. I DNF'd that book. That was a mega success. So I guess stuff like this does sell. And I don't understand. Maybe if you're just getting into reading, you would think it's good because it's fast paced and, like I said, easy. But then once you've read a decent amount, surely you start to notice what's good writing and what's just very basic writing. But I don't know. I'm not in the publishing industry. So I'm still going on with Dune, as we call it in Australia. I know Americans say Dune. I might just say Dune because that probably sounds better to you than June. I think audiobook definitely was the way to go for me in this, but I will wait until I finish it. I've got 2 hours left to go, so I'm almost done, son, and then I'll let you know my thoughts. I did read Grey Dog by Elliot Gish. And this is it says it's a litfic horror. It's set in 1901. It's about a spinster teacher who has been disgraced and is trying to start over in a small town. She has an obsession with nature. So I guess you'd say she's a naturalist. She seems to be gay. And he's having a bit of a hard time settling into the town. There's a lot of weird things happening. She begins to see, for instance, dead animals everywhere and realizes that she is hallucinating. So she does slowly go mad. There's also the mystery of what's happened to the previous teachers who came to this town to teach. There's a lot about miscarriages in this book. I have to mention it because it is heavy in this book. So if that is a trigger for you, stay far away from this. And I guess the overall gist of this is women becoming feral. I can see that it was trying to be marketed as feminine rage and maybe feminist and fucking the patriarchy and, you know, women becoming wild. But the main character in this, one, she's unlikable. Yes, she's gone through a lot of horrible trauma, but she is incredibly violent towards women. So all of her rage and that is directed at other women. And that is something I really hate. I don't like it. There is almost a femcel moment in here with a woman whom she's clearly sexually attracted to. And it just left a really bitter taste in my mouth. It was incredibly slow. I cannot stress how slow this book is. I would not class it as horror, even though horrific things happen. I'd say it's more of a thriller in a way because, yeah, the horror element wasn't there. There is supernatural element in this, but it's very mild. This is mostly about the main character, Ada, and her descent into madness and her animalistic urges, I guess. But like I said, it's the violence. It's the women on women violence. I don't like it. That's not what I came here for. And like I said, I don't like Ada, not one little bit. So this was not for me. I gave it a 2 stars. The writing is good, but yeah, I was so bored for most of it. And I kept waiting for this, you know, build up, and it kind of just flopped for me. And like I said, it went in a direction that I was not impressed with. A quote from this, though, that I did enjoy is, "I am no garden father." And that is out of context, but in the context it was a good line. But yeah, this was not my taste. And I don't know even who I would recommend it for. I guess if you like very slow books and that are more, I guess, character focused, because there's not a whole lot of plot going on. It is mostly just centered on Ada and her descent into madness. And if you like women on women violence, so I don't dead animals, I guess, if that's your jam, the eeriness of that, women being property of their husbands and considered to be nothing more than brood mares, just might be for you. So besides Dune, I am going to the library today. It's kind of stopped raining, so I can pick up Books of Magic by Neil Gaiman and Daytripper by Fabian something. I want to say Moon, probably not. So I will probably definitely get those read today because they're just graphic novels. And like I said, 2 hours on 1.75 speed. I will knock that out while I'm doing my general housework. So I will come back later today to finish up this reading blog of recommendations that I found from booktubers or viewers.
My current wildflower meadow situation. They're beautiful, beautiful wildflowers.
Okay guys, I'm back from the library. So I'm going to do a mini library book haul, okay? So we've got the Book of Magic by Neil Gaiman. So I got it and I will read it. And then we've got comics. So this is for an upcoming vlog that's very similar to the Really Fucking Weird Books Bro. I'm doing a segment, monthly segment, kind of similar to that, but a bit different. But keep your eyes out for that. So that's for that vlog. Then I've got Starfell, Willow Moss, and The Lost Day. I like to check out some middle grades to see if I can get a new series for Indy to get into. She's currently reading Harry Potter, but I wanted something that I could read to her that also has pictures in it. So, because I think it's fun when books have images as well. And I know she doesn't really like books with people as the main characters. She prefers animals. But look, there's a cat on the cover. So I'm going to see if I can get it into this. It sounded good. Next up, we have When I Arrived at the Castle by Emily Carroll. So this is a graphic novel, and I think it looks perfect for Halloween, my spooky themed vlog. We've got Daytripper. It is Fabian Moon. I got it right. Gabrielle Be. I don't know how to pronounce it. This is a real beat up copy, but I will be reading it. Here we've got Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright, which was one of my choices. It's much bigger than I thought it was going to be. How many pages is this? 417. Wow. I've just found out it is a polybook, and so far there has only been one polybook that I have enjoyed, so I'm not sure how I feel about it. Could end up being a DNF, but I will be reading it this month. Then I picked up Seance Tea Party because I thought this might be a cute, spooky graphic novel for middle grade. At least I think it's middle grade, pretty sure. I've got Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. So this is massive right now. It's been heavily promoted in all of the bookstores and I've seen it all over booktube. So I thought I would give it a go. Not sure if it's to my taste. And then we've got Shadow Stitch by Carl Thomas. Will a Curse Tear Them Apart? This is the second in the series. This is a brick. Holy crap. Almost 700 pages and it is small text. Woo! I don't even remember the first one. So we'll see how we go with this. I might have to go read the synopsis for the first book and refresh my memory because I don't quite remember it, but I do love the stitched cover. And once again, it looks like another spooky read. So that's my haul. I can now read these two books and finish off Dune and then finish off this vlog. Okay, so I have finished Dune. I am going to settle on a 3.5 stars. I do believe though that I'm just going to move this a bit to the side so I don't get any accidental child in the shot. I think that listening to the audiobook and having already seen the movie did improve my enjoyment of it. If I had read the book and I hadn't seen the movie, I would have enjoyed it much less. And to be honest with you, if I hadn't picked it up for a rec video, I probably would have DNF'd it. It does have such extensive world building and it is an incredibly long and drawn out book and it's very dense and I just don't think it would have captured my attention. I'll say with the story, the little excerpts at the beginning of each chapter by Princess Irulan, I feel the book would have been better without them because she does sometimes just drop spoilers and it takes the anticipation away and the effect of it away. There was a time when she dropped a spoiler that someone was going to die and I'm like, I'd already seen the movie so I knew, but if I was reading the book I'd be like, what do you mean? I just feel like it lessens the experience. I don't really feel like her bits were necessary at the beginning. And with Paul, so Paul is basically going on a Neo from the Matrix like journey where he is coming into his power and he's being lauded as the chosen one. But it's like, is he going to follow in Neo's suit or is he going to pull an Anakin Darth Vader situation? I don't know. I feel like he could go either way. I'm hoping he leans more towards the Messiah and like the savior. And I feel like that's probably where it will go. This is definitely, I would say, a book that feels like Star Wars combined with Game of Thrones. That's what I would call this. And I know it's a very important keystone sci-fi book that has themes of power and religion and human beings' relationship to the environment, to the worlds that they live on. But yeah, it did weigh down on me a bit. It was a bit heavy in its density. It's just, yeah, so I'm still giving it 3.5 stars. I did enjoy my time with it, but like I said, I feel like that was greatly improved by the audiobook and having seen the movie first. Watching the movie first really helped me get into it a lot faster. Otherwise, it would have taken me quite a while to wrap my head around the characters and the world building and the planets and the politicking. It's a full-on book. But I am glad to have read it. I'm not going to read any more of the Dune books, but I think I actually will see the sequel, the movie. I had no desire to watch the second movie before, after I watched the first Dune movie, but now I will. So the book did rekindle my interest in the actual storyline, and I want to see kind of what happens. My favorite characters are still Princess Jessica, his mother, and Princess Jessica's daughter. I've forgotten her name. I think it's Aaliyah or something like that, but I'm interested to see who she becomes. And yeah, that was Dune. So the next book that I picked up was Neil Gaiman's The Books of Magic, the deluxe edition. I will show you some of the illustrations in here. And basically this is about a boy who's been prophesized to either do great things or horrible things. He's got glasses and has pet owl. So a lot of people are calling him Harry Potter, but this was pre-Harry Potter. And a group of 4 have been tasked with sort of deciding his fate. And what they decide is that they're just going to take him throughout time and have him meet a whole bunch of different magic practitioners so he can decide whether or not he wants to choose magic and the price that comes along with it. This is basically a book full of cameos of a bunch of DC comic book characters. So that is fun. I loved turning the page and seeing who's going to pop up next, you know? I'm like, oh, love her, hate him, love them. So that was fun, just getting to pretty much walk through the Hall of Fame of DC characters. But in terms of the story, it was okay. It was fine. It's just, you know, him meeting everybody and deciding, do I want to do magic or not? I didn't love the illustration style though. I'm sorry, it's not for me. I'm not a big fan. But I think overall I'm going to give it a 3.5. It was entertaining. It was fun. I have no desire to continue on in the series to see, you know, what happens to Timothy Hunt. I love that Constantine is in this. I tried the graphic novels or comic books of Constantine, and even though I like him as a character, I just didn't love the comics. I am very fussy with the illustrations, guys. As an adult, I just can't do it if I don't love it. But I do love the film. If you haven't seen the film Constantine, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's fantastic. But yeah, this was fun. 3.5 stars. And then I picked up Daytripper, so I'll show you some of the illustrations in this. This has very soft paper. It almost feels like recycled paper, which is really interesting, or like a newspaper kind of thing. I think the illustration style is cool. I liked the use of color and how like almost every story has a bit of a different color schematic. This is about a man named Braz, and he writes obituaries. And he's sort of imagining all of the lives that he could have had and all of the ways that he could have died in these lives. And so it was sort of fun, like a what if this, a sliding doors situation, if you will, where he just tries on different lives and different deaths, and all the deaths were very inventive, some of them were very bloody. And basically this whole book is just an ode to memento mori, which pretty much means that remember, one day you will die, so live your life. The illustrations were cool, but I just didn't feel an emotional connection to this book. There was a little bit at the end where he received a posthumous letter from his late father. That tugged on the heartstrings a little bit, but in regards to Braz, I just didn't feel connected to him. And so this is one of those books, I think if you really do need to feel an emotional connection to the story to get a lot from it. So I've given it 3 stars. It was a pleasant read. It was very quick and easy, like the illustrations, but yeah, I just didn't get that emotional resonance going on. So let me briefly recap all the books that I read for this particular vlog. So we'll start with Games, Gods, Play by Abigail Owen, which I gave 1.5 stars. Grey Dog by Elliot Gish, which I gave 2 stars. Daytripper by Fabio Moon and Gabrielle Bar, which I gave 3 stars. The Books of Magic by Neil Gaiman Deluxe Edition, which I gave 3.5 stars. And my favorite read of this reading vlog was Dune by Frank Herbert, which I gave 3.5 stars. So as usual, if I mentioned a booktuber, I will link their channel down below. And I'll see you next month for a brand new episode of Reading Rex. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.